Hello and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, this is Perry and you're watching Tesla DIY. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the company called Handshell. They make a lot of awesome products, the power front and the power trunk, the LED tail lights, and all kinds of awesome electronic upgrades for your Tesla Model 3 and Model Y. So a couple weeks ago, they reached out to me and asked me if I'm interested in anything at all. They offered me the yoke steering wheel, which I wasn't a fan of, so I ended up picking up these. These are the soft closing door. This is the one they sent me. This is one of the 4. And then this in my hand is the OEM door latch mechanism. Reason why I have one of the OEM in my hand is because I have already done the passenger side, just to get an idea of how much work is involved and what it takes, so I can show you guys every step. So before I jump into the installation, let me show you the comparison between the before and after, how it's like without this module when you close the door, and what the door closing experience is like with this install. So let me show you. And I'm sure I can speak for a lot of Tesla Model 3 owners and some Model Y owner as well. When you close the door, many times you just don't shut it all the way, and you have to really slam the door in order to shut it. The back is a little bit better on my car, but still, if you sometimes just the kit doesn't close it all the way, you can see that it leaves a gap. As well, the windows didn't go up. And if I go around to the passenger side, which I have the Handshell soft closing door installed, if I just gently push it, see that it automatically sucks it in, and you can see that the windows rolls up on confirming that the door is closed. Same thing to the back. If I just gently push it, and the car just does the rest on its own. So that's a nice feature to have. It's not for everyone. I personally likes it after I have it, and I showed some friends and they were actually impressed. It's something that you don't know you need it until you have it, I guess. So yeah, that's the soft closing door, and that's what it does. So now let's get into the installation. Alright, so some of the tools that you're gonna need. It's a 8mm socket. So right off the bat, I'm gonna be using this pick tool because there is a cover right behind this button right here. There's this cover that you have to pop off, and a Torx 30 bit for the door panel. Right there is also a Torx 30 bit. So, and then also you do have to pop off this reflector light, and right there is the third Torx 30 bit. So remove all 3 of these Torx 30 bits, and then we should be able to pop the door panel off. So I'm going to set you guys down again. So number 1, number 2, it's out. So we're going to remove the door panel speaker. So in order to remove it, you have to pull it up. So what I'm going to do is use a squeegee and just kind of help push it up. See how this slides in? So now we should be able to remove the door panel. Just give it a good pull. There you go. And then kind of just work your way around. So you can feel that everything is loose. All the clips are popped off. You want to lift it up and then away from the door panel. So now we have the back of the door exposed. So now we have to remove all these 8mm bolts. You also need to unplug the puddle light on the door panel. In doing so, the window is gonna go up like that. And if you want, you can spend some time and remove all the remaining harness to the door panel. For me, I'm just gonna leave it intact because the less I have to remove, the quicker I can put everything back together. Also, you're gonna be removing all these rubber seals because you do have to get to the back of the 10mm bolt in order to remove the window. Okay, so 8mm, there's a bunch all the way around. Okay, and now let's get the windows removed. So before we remove the windows, we want to mark its location just so we know exactly where the position is when we put it back. And for some reason, if your window is not all the way up, just take a flathead screwdriver, stick it into the door latch, push it in. That way it tells the car that the door is shut, so the window will go all the way up. So now that the window is all the way up, we want to mark the location, how high it was sitting at. Just align that tape along with the rubber seal here. And then we want to put another tape on this side, just make sure everything is level. This tape here, I'm just gonna mark its left and right position. Just put it right there. So I'm just gonna draw a line like that, another one like that. So I know where to put it back in. It is time to remove the window with the 13mm socket. So there's one bolt here, righty tighty, lefty loosey. So turn it counterclockwise. So the window's already falling. The windows loops around the bolt, so you do have to remove the bolt entirely. And also right here, same thing, 13mm. And eventually take out the bolt entirely. See, the window's not dropping any further because it's sitting onto the bracket that's holding the window. Carefully. And now we can remove the window. So as you can see, this hole and this hole that the bolt was going through. So remove these two bolts and then you can slide the windows out. If you want, you can remove this plastic rubber seal. That will give you a little bit more room to clear these two guys. So you just carefully set aside the window that you just removed. Now you can just pull this panel out that's holding all the electronic and harness and all that stuff. There are metal clips that's holding this panel, so you do want to kind of pry it. Just kind of pull it off enough that I can get my hand behind, and also as long as the OEM door latch module can come out from here. So there are two more 10mm bolt that you have to remove, and that's the ones holding the window, the up and down slider thing. So get those two removed to make room for the door latch to come out. So here's that one on the top. And then there's one on the bottom as well, just right there. And again, these are 10mm. So now that these are out, so next we want to remove the OEM door latch mechanism. Torx 25 bit, and they're on pretty tight, so this is the only tool I have and it works. If there's an impact that you could use, you might want to use an impact because they are kind of tight in there. See, give it a little wiggle just to loosen it up. There you go. And the new Hanshou soft closing door latch does comes with a replacement screw or bolt. So you do not have to reuse these OEM ones. So just remove these. Okay, so now pull this out of the way, reach in and kind of just wiggle it loose. This is the vertical window slider thing that we removed the two 10mm nuts. So now this is moving, so we could make more room for the OEM door latch to come out. Oh, another thing I forgot is there's a manual pull latch that you have to remove from the door panel, which is this one in the green. Gets inserted this way and then pivot and lock in place like that. So you just pull it out. So you want to shove this gasket grommet in and fit it to the inside because we will be pulling the OEM latch mechanism out from the backside. So now that we have this slided out, you can see that there is the OEM connection, and this is where my flathead screwdriver is going to come in handy. You want to stick this in. See this little white locking push pin? Shove it in and then just give it a twist, and that unlocks the socket. That way you can just pull it out like that. Now that the OEM door latch is completely free, so just pull it all out like this. There you go. So the aftermarket handshell soft closing door latch has a label. So it says front left door, rear left door. So just follow the label. You can't really put the wrong one in. And like I said, they do come with replacement screws or bolts. So remove these and just shove this back in. And you might want to do the connection right now. Stick this in. It's directional, so you can't plug it in wrong. Connect that. Hear that click. And then kind of place it somewhere near, because you still have to fish this manual pull cable back out from the hole on the bottom. And then we'll connect this in a bit, but for now we will secure the aftermarket door latch with the 3 bolts. So just position this somewhere like that. So just position the aftermarket door latch and then tighten the 3 screws. There's not any plates, so it doesn't really move around, so you don't really have to worry about being misaligned or anything. So just tighten all 3 as best as you can, because remember, it was pretty tight from the factory, so just give it your best shot. So now that this is installed, we just have to install the manual pull cable, put everything back, and we should be able to test it. So just put everything back. The window slider rail, 10mm. The bottom as well. Okay, reinstall this cable. And then all these 8mm bolts. And don't forget to reinstall your window. I guess it is better to remove the rubber seal after all. So let's do that. Yep, that's much better. So do remove the window rubber seal over here. I kind of work it from the left side where you're looking at, slide it over to the right side from where you're looking at, and then put the seal back in so we know where to align the window. So these have plastic tabs that holds into the door panel, so it can't be reinstalled in the wrong position because it has to go back in the same position. Alright, so now you can see that it's off to the right a little bit, so we just want to pull it back slightly. And then also the tape is not exactly aligned with the rubber seal, so we want to lift it up just a bit. Put the bolt in. Don't tighten it all the way because we still have to adjust the position of the window slightly. We just want to get the first couple of threads in. Now this is way too low, so we want to just lift it up. And I'm just gonna go ahead and tighten this as good as I can. Don't over tighten it because it is squeezing onto the window. That's how it is holding the windows in place. Quickly test the window, see if it goes up and down, and if it does, just remove the alignment tape. Again, shout out to Brian. Thank you, Brian. Reinstall the puddle light. And that should be it. Now I'm gonna put the door panel back on. Align the taps on the side and just go tap. Make sure you hear that click. And then reconnect your speaker. Again, push it in this way and then slide it down. There you go. And then there are these 3 Torx 30 bolts. So just reinstall these. Put the cover back on. Put this back on. before you get too excited to test the door, make sure you either use your app, go into the car, or just push the door handle like this. That way it lowers the window down. Because if you don't lower the windows down, like that, the windows all the way up, what happens is it does not lower the windows to bypass the windows trim. So what happens is you could slam the door and you could either damage your trim or you could break your glass. So make sure you go into your car, push the unlock and lock button, or just push the door. That way the window comes down. Now you could test the door. And voila. Alright, so now the front is done. Let me show you the back side. The back side, it's pretty much the same thing. I went ahead and removed the window with the two 13mm bolt. Placed the window over there. Removed the rubber seal just to get more clearance, so when you slide the window out and put it back in, it's easier. And then remove all these bolts. I went ahead and disconnected the whole thing from the panel for the back, and it does make the job easier because this thing's not in the way. So I'm going to show you one thing that is different on the back side is that the railing that is holding the window, where the window goes up and down, it's attached to this guy, which is these bolts right here. Do not remove these. Do not remove these two 10mm and these two as well, because if you do remove these, the railing they're under tension by these cables and a whole pulley system that goes across. If you do remove these, it loses its tension and then the cable can come out of place, and then you will have to somehow reconnect them, which I actually did. I can show you, but for you guys, just don't remove these nuts. If you did and you messed up like I did, you could watch this video. I guess I'll show you real quick on how to reconnect your cable system. So let me pull this panel off and show you the only difference that is to the back door compared with the front. Alright, so when you pull the panel off from the back door, it's held on to the same metal clips. But when you pull this off, the railing is behind this frame right here. You gotta slide it down and out like this. And this is the cable system that I was talking about. If you loosen these two bolts or these 4 bolts, this railing will lose its tension, and then these cables can come out of place. You're gonna be pretty screwed up. So that's the only difference. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put everything back in. I will have a link in the description to if you're interested in getting the soft closing door kit, and I will have a promo code as well. I'm gonna throw it up here and as well in the description. So I do get a little small commission from Handshell if you do buy with my promo code, so make sure you guys check that out. And if you find this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think of the products. Let me know what you think of my video. And yeah, that's all I have for today, and I'll see you guys next time. Allow me to show you, in case if you did the same thing as I did, this is how you're gonna reconnect your cable. So one cable is gonna go into this groove and then go around this pulley and then up into this pulley, then into this groove right here. And then another one, this is a separate cable, so one end is gonna go into this groove, around this pulley, into this spring-loaded mechanism, and then with this rubber channel back into this motor. The other end of the motor connection will go into this groove. So like this is one, this is number 2, and this is number 3.